Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive. And if you're watching live from the Secret Sauce group, hey! And if you're not, if you're listening through podcast, I just want to say that I record these live in the Secret Sauce group, so that's when you get to see it and hear it live and get it hot off the press. And if anybody's watching live right now, please leave a comment and I'll touch base after I am done recording. But I am recording live from Washington, D.C. I'm at the Washington Mall right now. I'll give you, for those watching, the Washington Monument is behind me. It's cold. It's like 43 degrees. I have my gloves on. You know, I'm used to LA weather, so it's a little chilly for me. I know for some of you, you're like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Big deal. So, okay, so I'm just giving you a little 360 degree view here of behind me. I think down that side of the mall, I think is the White House way down there. You can't see it really, but yeah, behind me is definitely the Washington Monument. So this is where I walk today, and I'm here in town for pleasure. I'm here for pleasure, and I am working. I just got out of my hotel room and took a walk down here. But I'm here with a friend, my new boyfriend. You'll hear more about that another time, I'm sure. But yeah, he's here on business, and so I tagged along. So I love to travel, my friends. I love to travel, and I have not traveled much in my entire adult life because my former husband didn't like to travel, so I didn't travel much. And when I got close to 50, I started thinking, I need to rethink this thing. That doesn't work for me so well. So, my hunger for travel, I have a big hunger for travel. So I'm starting to make up for lost time, and I'm headed to Portland, Maine after this, where my gentleman friend's son lives, and my sisters live. So I saw them for Christmas, and I'm going back there, and I'm going to get to spend time with them. So a little bit about my personal life. Again, I always slip some of that in there in these shows, and at some point I'll have more to say on that new relationship, which is very exciting and fun and beautiful. So yeah, and I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm going to share those lessons with you here because my life is my classroom. So I want to talk to you about this amazing experience I had here in D.C. I've only been here 24 hours. You'll hear some planes in the distance, from Reagan Airport. That's where I flew into. Or who knows, maybe it's Air Force One. But anyway, I was walking. It's such a great walking city. It's such a great walking city. And basically, I was walking along, and I noticed that the crosswalks have like 60 seconds, sometimes 65 seconds to cross the street. And I've never seen such a thing. This is going to seem silly. This is the topic for today, but it's not really. But this is what got me thinking. They give you 65 seconds to cross the street, which is ample time, of course. And in LA, you get like 25 seconds. And some of the streets around my neighborhood, they're kind of funky. So they're sort of slanted, like the crosswalk slants. And so it takes longer to get across. And it's really hard to get across sometimes, or there's two different lanes. Like there's an island, so you got to go to one island, and then you got to go across again to the next, across another street. And 25 seconds ain't enough, guys. It's just not enough. And I'm able-bodied and have strong legs, and I'm like, whoa, wait, So here I am in D.C., and they give you so much time. They give you 65 seconds, and I've never experienced like how delicious that is. It never occurred to me that you could do that. You could actually give somebody 65 seconds to cross the street. I'm always like rushing. Well, how about in your city? What is it? For me, these crosswalks where I live and where I grew up in the Northeast, I've lived a lot of different places in this country, and I've never seen anything like it. So here we are. We have a lot of time to cross the street, and it is yummy. It's absolutely yummy. and I'm delighting in it. I mean, I'm delighting in Washington altogether. It's exciting. It's such an historical city, and the buildings are so old. And I just I think back 300 years ago and what was going on here, and just starting to form government and all these different things, and it's just so wonderful to be here. But the thing that's tickling me the most are those freaking crosswalks. So I want to tell you why, and that's because as emotional eaters and overeaters, we're also overdoers, right? We're overdoers, and we're moving fast. We're moving fast through life, and I'm just as guilty as the next person. I move very fast. I've got a lot of things going on. I pack a lot into my day, and part of that is just the joy of living. Like, I'm just psyched to be alive. I'm psyched to be free from emotional eating one day at a time. I'm just so excited about my life. I'm excited about this new chapter in my life. I'm just really enjoying life, so I want to pack a lot into it. But, being rushed has consequences. Being too rushed has consequences. And, what I love about these crosswalks and what they're reminding me of is that I should take my time when crossing the street. And many years ago, my former husband, Roy, taught me something that was so wonderful. He's taught me so many things. And one of them is to take my time, when crossing the street, or take my time when I'm using the restroom, or take my time when I'm eating my food. Being around him was so, instructive in so many ways, because he has this beautiful sense of just take your time. Like, take your time and don't rush. He'd always say, don't rush. He says it to everybody, don't rush, and because we do rush. And part of that rushing is people pleasing. Like, if somebody's waiting on you and you're trying to finish up your meal, the tendency is to rush, like gulp it down and be like, oh, somebody's waiting on me. And to have that internal pressure, just like if somebody's waiting at a crosswalk for us to cross, we have the internal pressure, like, oh, and we kind of scurry. And Roy used to always roll down his window when he'd let somebody walk by and they would scurry, like kind of pick up the pace because he was waiting. He'd roll down his window and he'd say, take your time. He's like, you don't need to run. And it was such a gentle, sweet thing that he would say. And I learned so much from that, because he would say that to me too. He's like, take your time, don't rush. And, I think we do rush, not only because we're trying to pack too much in, but also because that people-pleasing thing and that internal pressure to not want people to wait for us, to not want to inconvenience anybody, to not want to put anybody out. As emotional eaters, we're people-pleasers, and we get that internal pressure and that apologetic nature where we don't give ourselves time if somebody is waiting or somebody expects something from us. These crosswalks reminded me of that, to take our time. Take our time and just, don't rush across the street, across the crosswalk. Don't rush. Don't dawdle, obviously, but, don't rush. Definitely don't text, okay? So I've been guilty of texting as I'm walking, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of the street texting. That's so dangerous, and I try not to do that because, you can get run over really quickly. I did have a close call one time that way. So, but the point is, we rush a lot on account of unworthiness, on account of not feeling worthy, and I just want to encourage you to take your time. And I want to talk to you also about when you shouldn't take your time. And that's when it comes to breaking free from emotional eating. I talk to a lot of people, I talk to people all the time who are emotional eaters and tell me they want to overcome it. And yet, when I give them an opportunity to do that and to really to do it in a way that they've never done it before, which is to address the real crux of the problem, which is emotional eating, they dilly-dally and they dawdle and they hem and haw and they say, oh, I'm just going to do what I'm doing, or they don't step up to the plate, and they don't have that sense of urgency. And I'm telling you, they should, okay? I've talked to a lot of people who should have urgency, because this condition of emotional eating can cost us our lives. It can cost us our lives. I talk to people every day who have heart issues. They have diabetes. They've got joint issues. They've got circulatory problems, gut problems, autoimmune problems, all because of their eating. Mostly because of their eating, what they're eating and how much they're eating. And yet they're still taking their time. They're just reading the books. watching the TV shows, just kind of taking another, listen to another summit, listen to another interview, doing these different things that don't involve them taking real action. Information is fine, but it's not going to move the needle. Ultimately, what goes in your head, we like to binge on information, right? I mean, I even tell people my book is not going to heal you. A lot of people get incredible benefit from my book, but it's, at the end of the day, you need to take action. And the best way to take action is to get support and to be around people who are taking action. I recently went to Hawaii. I've been twice actually in the past 6 months, which has been amazing, and I'm super grateful. Again, remember that bug I told you I got for travel? So I went to Hawaii recently in January, and I jumped off of a cliff. Okay, this is intentional. I wasn't in despair. I climbed up this big rock. A cliff is an exaggeration. It was about 25 feet up, but it was this big rock at this hotel, and the hotel is built into the rock. It's Sheraton Hotel in Maui. And I'm going to digress for a minute. I talked to my mom, and she told me that she and my dad actually went to that hotel when it was first built in the early 60s. She's like, Tricia, I've been there. She's like, I know exactly where you're talking about, because I sent her the video of my jumping off this this cliff, this rock. And she said, your dad was in Japan, and he called me and said, meet me in Hawaii, meet me in Maui, and I said, that's incredibly romantic. She said it was very romantic. And I don't know that they had kids at the time, and I certainly wasn't around. So she met him there, and they stayed at this very hotel I was just at. But this hotel is built into the rock, and it's an amazing, big, high rock. And you can swim on the beach and below the rock. People snorkel below there. But you can also climb up the rock and jump. And so a group of us, because I was there for a business retreat, and so a group of us decided to jump off this rock. Actually, one friend was the one who sort of spearheaded the whole thing, and I said, I'm in. And then, of course, I said that the night before, and the next day I'm thinking of ways to get out of it. But I showed up at the beach, and we went to this rock. I swam out and then climbed up from the water. Some people just went up from the beach, which is harder on the feet. It's kind of, this is a volcanic rock, so it's not that easy on the bare feet. But anyway, we climbed up, and oh my God, I posted in the Secret Sauce group. If you're not part of the Secret Sauce group, go in there, because I have a video of my jumping off this rock, but at first getting really afraid. So what happened is I got up there, I was ready to jump, I was going second, and I got to the edge, and I looked down, again, about 25-foot drop. And all my friends counted down, and they said 3, 2, 1, and I stood there. I couldn't go. I was so afraid, because it's a big jump, and it's like that moment of jumping is so scary. It's so scary, and so many of people that I talk to who want to change their life, they want to transform their relationship with food, they want to lose the weight, they want to overcome their health issues. So many people, they get to that point with me where they say, they want to do this. They've got all the health conditions that require this. They want to be able to play with their grandchildren and not have to sit in a chair the whole time and just read stories to their grandkids. They want to be out there and playing and running around. They want to be a good model to their children. They want to be around for a whole lot more years to enjoy their retirement. They've got the motivation, and the why, but they're afraid to take that leap. Well, that was me. I was afraid to take that leap that day, jumping off that cliff. And I gathered myself. And what was cool is that I had these, 8 or 9 people standing behind me, counting down. And I just thought here you go, Trish, you're terrified. You already missed the countdown. You're looking down. You have to do this, because I can't turn back. These people are behind me. They're going next. I can't turn back. It would be incredibly embarrassing, and it would, there's no need for it. They're here, they're supporting me. So they started to count down again, and I jumped, and it was magnificent. And again, if you want to go to the Secret Sauce group and watch the video, please do. It was really exhilarating, and it's fun to watch as well. But my point in all this, in this story, is that I was so afraid. I was so afraid to do this and to jump. So afraid, and yet I had people supporting me, and I also had a little bit of pressure, a little peer pressure as well, and that was helpful in this case for getting me to jump. And I think, as emotional eaters, sometimes we need that. If we try to do this alone, if we try to walk through our fear of letting the food go on our own, if we try to walk through our fear of dealing with the underlying causes alone, not going to happen, and it breaks my heart when people get up to that edge. They get up to that edge and they don't jump. And I so want them to. So my lesson here is there's times when you should take your time, like doing self-care, taking care of yourself, like crossing that crosswalk without rushing. Beautiful. Self-care. Take the time to meditate. Take the time to do your prayers in the morning. Every single morning I walk and I pray. And I take that time no matter what's going on. And if I'm really in a rush, I just get on my knees and I just pray and I do my prayers there. But I like to walk and pray because it kind of jazzes me and makes me feel really connected to my higher power. But I take that time, and I don't let people rush me through that. I take my time to do my reading and everything else I need to do for myself. I take my time when I'm eating a salad. There's a lot of munching that's involved in eating a salad, and I love salads. They're so good for you, and I find them very delicious because I'm not eating candy bars. And if you're not eating candy bars and chips, salads are great. It's when you're eating ice cream and chips and candy that salads they're not very fun. But, when I'm not eating crap, salads are awesome. So, I take my time when I'm eating my salad. I don't let people rush me through that. And I don't eat it until I can take my time. I don't eat in the car. I take my time for self-care. That's when you should take your time. But when it comes to taking the leap and actually taking new actions to lose the weight that's hurting you and causing you health issues, that's when you should jump. That's when you shouldn't dawdle anymore. And as emotional eaters, we go year in and year out just putting it off. And part of that's just fear. I mean, all of that's fear. It's fear of letting go of food. I'm telling you, you can't just let go of food. You can't just diet. That's ridiculous. But you can, with help and support and coaching, you can actually face the underlying causes so you no longer want to eat. That's the only hope, and that's what I love showing my clients how to do. So there are times when you should take your time, and there are times when you shouldn't, where you should jump. And I want to support you in that. So that's my lesson today is to really evaluate when you should take your time. And when it comes to self-care, go for it. And when it comes to crossing the street, go for it. Be safe, of course. But that's what I'm learning today from Washington. I think tomorrow I may have another show straight from Washington as well. So but definitely check it out in the Secret Sauce group. And if you want to learn more, go to healyourhunger.com, take the quiz, find out if you're an emotional eater, if you're not sure. And let's connect. So happy to be here with you. Thanks so much for tuning into this show. Love you so much. Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.